We're here for the second half of the Free Speech Show, and tonight we're talking about handicapping the 2008 presidential race. And it's looking bad for America if America is thinking the same thing we are here tonight. It'd be awesome. And so I just want to start out. First of all, we had this stab at campaign finance reform, and we were going to finance the presidential campaigns out of the federal coffers, and you were going to be able to check off on your tax thing, do you want to give $1 for the presidential election? Well, now you're a chump if you go for the matching federal funding, because everybody's saying, well, it's going to be $100 million spent by the candidate who's the nominee of the party. Right. And then last election, they were spending like $220 million each in the general campaign.
Yeah.
And the matching fund was $70 million or something.
How is it possible to not be beholden to anyone after that? It's not physically possible to be free of being beholden to people. You owe everyone everything, everywhere.
Right.
There's no way you can't be manipulable with that much money behind you. So the whole point I was trying to say is the more money is behind you, the less I trust you automatically. It voids you by design.
Right. Obviously, it's just like a woman. The more men you've been with, then the less I'm going to feel special.
Thank you. Why do they all ask me that?
Yeah.
But it's about
unless I'm going to feel like the chosen one,
I could forgive me.
What is it?
I could forgive me.
That's where it has to start.
Well, it's all about access. I would like people to have equal access. I'm tired of my consciousness being purchased by the same repetitive blasting me, giving me the flashes, naked girls, whatever they put in those fucking things, and actually have equal time for people. And I'd like to see 20 candidates on each side. I'd like to see a discussion with America where we put out some. We're so friggin' smart. Why we can solve $660 million the archdiocese paid to abused people in Los Angeles. Can't we talk to the Palestinians and the Israelis? For $660 million, can't we settle fucking something?
Yeah, no, come back, my friend. How about $3 billion? All right.
We need to talk, and I'd like to hear what 20 different candidates had to say. I want to hear from the little guy on the street, or the smallest budget man, and let's hear some stuff. Let's see if there's something there, some substance, because we're in a mess.
And now there are media outlets that allow you to do that. You can use the internet. You have YouTube putting debates up. And how do we get the mainstream people, the rest of America, to at least look at these things that we're talking about?
Of course. I mean,
where's it going to come from? How do we make that switch?
What stage is that?
Yeah, what you're saying is just stay with the thing where people do it for other reasons. We have had our reasoning tampered with. We don't reason correctly. We don't see reasons for the reasons they are.
Okay.
A lot of the time the news will tell us, well, don't look at the internet. Well, of course they're going to say that. It competes with the news. It makes them look bad. Of course they'll say this is stupid. Right. The thing that makes them look bad is stupid. That's easy.
They don't want us to read.
They don't want us to read. They don't want us to read anything. They want us just to be dazzled by the stupidest, lowest slap of an insult news we get every day.
Well, I was watching Fox News this weekend, and maybe you guys don't know this, but Fox leans Republican.
No, they're fair and balanced. They are fair and balanced.
Yes.
They are fair and balanced.
They have this show on Saturday mornings where it's all these like Wall Street greedy bastards talking about this stock is the one you got to go in. America's the strongest country. We don't need national health care. Hillary's going to ruin it if she's elected. And
this is an animated thing for children, right? No? Okay.
And of course, if the Democrats win, we're going to be taxed to death.
Right.
But there was this guy on there that was just talking about, well, Obama, the reason why he's raising all these funds is because when they sell a bumper sticker for $3, they call that a contribution. Well, if I were Obama, I'd be doing a nude calendar with the wife.
Yeah.
Ah.
$20.
David
you
Beckham,
sell- yeah.
full David Beckham thing,
Nothing to hide.
Yeah. Let that video of you two just
Yeah.
sneak
Just-
out.
yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna be elected $25 at a time. Yeah.
Per scene.
Yeah. And there's a DVD in the back of the shoot. You know, yes. But
And if
Well, we
he's
gotta get
average
those-
in size, he will definitely get the white vote.
yeah, exactly.
They'll feel secure
Yeah.
again in that
They
president.
might have to pixelate that.
Okay, what if we end up at the Democratic
Click here.
convention and who's going to be the vice president? Who's going to be the president?
Yeah.
Well, what do you think?
I think it could go Hillary as president and Obama as vice president because no one would ever try to kill her. That's how the system works. And I don't think she would take vice president. But what if?
Right.
What if we're wrong? What if they want to put something? You know, it's so hard to go like go team because they've been underdogs for so long. And we want something good to happen, but actually they've been sitting there going yak yak, you know, having a great time on our expense. And it's hard to join up to say could these people possibly be good? But we got to take a shot. You know, we have to. Pick
So now you are willing to concede the election to the Democrats, as you're hoping.
Who's got the playing field? You know, they got all the playing field, and it's hard to the rule of the independence is that it just doesn't have you can't find it on the dial. It's hard to tune into it. You have to be a really dedicated American to think that you're going to stop and actually learn something that you don't. It's like eating cod liver oil. Tastes terrible.
See,
you gotta eat it.
but see,
You have to be able to try
You have to be
it's
that
just like
mad.
a grand experiment
right.
or something like that, where you just got to promote going in and not voting for Republicans or Democrats.
I mean,
You
I'm
can't get into the reasons. You
I'm
know?
ahead
You
of
gotta
my
get
time.
Into like
I'm ahead of my
the
time, but I
Kool-Aid
think
experiment. You know, you have to sell it like that. You can't
Yeah,
think
the,
use logic
the
to sell it.
research is,
That's
there's
never
no
gonna
way
work.
to say that the research is in. We haven't ever given them a chance to prove anything.
Right.
right.
So just do it this time.
I think that the problem is that America. I mean, the president is polling at like 27%. Congress is polling at 14%. It's a Democratic Congress. America is really the most fed up we've ever been. Now, what do you think of
Right,
this
okay.
if Bloomberg comes into the race, the mayor
As an
of
independent?
New York, as an independent? Yeah.
You have to take a look at it.
Well, you know, I kind of like him sometimes. I don't know quite what it is. I've read multitudes of little things about him, but he seems to be a square shooter, and New York hasn't suffered for his presence. You know, it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to see what somebody came in that had enough money that you couldn't buy him, that you couldn't find a dead horse in his bed and he wouldn't give a shit. You know, there's got to be this kind of guy that goes, your shit is over. The covered wagons are done. The cars are coming in. Somebody that says we can cut through all of you oil interests because one burp of the earth and we're all doing something new tomorrow. We need alternative fuel. We need a place to buy it. We need a place to set it up, and we have to cut up the old folks in order to have a place to do new business. Now, who's going to trash them? We have to do it. It's like, you know, it's
And he's
puppy at
not
the
a whack
pound.
job like who's the guy from Texas a few years ago?
Perot.
Perot, like Ross Perot.
Well, somebody made Perot
And he's taller.
crazy. Something happened
And
to
he's
him.
taller, yeah, he's a
the
better
first few
looking
months
guy.
into it. Something happened to him the first few months when
Who?
Perot, when he ducked out. But he saved us from George Bush again. We would have
Right.
had another season of not believing if Perot saved us, even with what happened to him, because
Yeah, he was
somebody
the nadir
scared
of
him.
the
I think somebody scared
92
him.
election.
He changed a little bit in mid-election, but still came back, but like a whimper. But nevertheless, his presence saved us from that regime.
Sure.
And what do you see? Who do you see as the Republican nominee? Do you have an idea? Do you think it's
I hope it's Mitt Romney, or as I call him, Catcher's Mitt Romney.
give him that stigma, just like
He's as
Ann
shiny as
Coulter
a
did,
Washington
yeah.
apple.
Well, is it
He's
Bronner?
as shiny and neat. There's no heterosexual man that's that neat. That guy is gay.
He's got
I
to
need
be-
more wives. That'll show everyone. I'll have lots of wives.
Jello for
Look
everyone.
what a man I am. All my wives.
Well, you know, my brother was gay and was living in Salt Lake City, and during the annual Mormon conference, the gay clubs would just be packed with all these people who had come back to Salt Lake City for the conference, and there's a lot of homosexuality on these Mormon missions, because they send these two like 19-year-old boys into a foreign country where no one speaks their name, and they're Mormon missionaries, so they're outcasts.
Man love.
You know,
Man love.
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
man love.
Yeah.
There's a
And
lot
they
of-
are
yeah.
missionaries
Well,
after all.
Well, you're only gay if you're the dominant one. You're not the gay one. So they probably switched off a little bit. So.
Remember, Caleb, this is an act of violence.
Jesus. Jesus.
Oh, man.
Sound check.
Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
just-
6,
you know
7,
what?
8, 9, 10, 11.
It seems like it's all the people that do everything they say they hate, and then just they don't like that we also do it. It's like being rich. I'm not saying I hate Rolls Royces. I just hate when poor people have Rolls Royces. I want a Rolls Royce. I don't want them to have their Rolls Royces facing back the other
The
way.
little
Exactly.
people.
They're supposed to stay little and drive their little cars for little people, so that I can show my superiority by the shell I've crabbed around town in.
Now, do you think Edwards has got a chance?
I was perceiving that he still had some sort of a chance. I mean, I know the haircut and the Ann Coulter thing, but
Listen, he had to send his wife in. That
You
was
know.
kind of chicken.
Yeah, see,
You know,
especially
the
if you
sick
get this thing
female,
going
that was reaching.
with Clinton and Obama, and they split votes, and then there's Edwards, you know, the
So,
remaining
well,
white
see-
dude.
He
You
could
go
be
back
a
to the
VP. He could
conventional,
be a VP.
and you know, it ends up being conventional. It's
See, I
the
don't
white
thi-
Democratic candidate, and
I
it's
don't think he has
Edwards.
the big momentum.
It's not
I,
Clinton or Obama.
I see no momentum in his direction.
There's no fire.
Yeah.
I think
But
the
so
one
far
with
away.
fire will win. And we
Right.
see no fire. We just see, oh, well, I'm waiting to hear, okay, I really believe this.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it
Core
just
is
seems the
bad,
weak
I'm gonna-
belief.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
there's
other
it's
people
so
don't wanna help the
convenient. It's
core.
really convenient to be
Yeah,
able
but
to
it
say
might
that
be working
now.
in Iowa and
But you have to
Vermont.
remember he's talking to
You know,
poor
because
people.
that's where it's going to start.
They understand him.
What's Iowa and Vermont going to do?
You mean New Hampshire or Vermont?
Is it New Hampshire
New
before
Hampshire,
Vermont? My
yeah.
bad. Sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
New Hampshire. What are they going to do? I mean, that's going to
Well,
tell us who has the actual
I
momentum.
think he's
Money
doing.
be
I think
damned.
he's doing well in Iowa, but you know, it's basically a caucus state, so it's not really a primary. And
Sure.
you know,
I'm
and
just saying
that's
as
where
far as
Howard
who actually
Dean,
has the
you know,
momentum as
yeah,
it gets going.
yeah.
I think he still has a shot. I don't see how you can count him out. You know, if you're actually handicapping the election,
Right.
you know, I think his odds still have to be
Isn't it hard?
fairly close to Clinton and Obama.
Isn't it hard to not know now that we have to go hem and haw because the guy, it's like he's halfway out of his Superman suit, but we're not sure if there's an S or another G. We don't know what's on his shirt. You know, we can't, there's nothing that you stand up and go, nail the whole concept of what isn't happening. These little things we're picking at are symptoms of a much bigger, deeper, darker thing that's going on in our country is neglect of the obvious. The ability to oversee ourselves, to be running the game of a nation that has its shit together.
that's the thing.
Instead, we're so unprepared. We're so dilly-dallying with shit that doesn't matter while major shit is facing us. And our
Exactly.
country's falling apart, and we're working here with a Congress that sometimes does what it's told. I'm sick of their crap. Fire
Well,
them
see,
off.
and that's
Saying.
that's why I don't see Hillary as the big answer. I see her as a status quo candidate. I mean, first of all, she supported the war.
Right.
She's been one of the last candidates to oppose to turn around against the war.
I wouldn't say she was sorry for saying
Yeah,
she
wouldn't-
voted on the
yeah.
war.
Exactly. That's just like a George Bushism. What's the
How-
difference
you
between
know-
her and Giuliani?
That's right. When she says, well, then it was based on the intel, and I'm sitting at home going, you mean I knew more than you?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You got a basic minimum, know as much as me at home.
Exactly. Exactly. But what do you think of Hillary as a politician? Do you think she's getting better?
I think she's smooth. She used to lick the Israelis like a newborn puppy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
she's
she's
smooth,
smooth,
she's
yeah,
smart.
she's
I mean,
smooth.
she's look at this chick. I mean,
on
really,
the
when
job,
she took
yeah.
on the healthcare system, I mean, she found a herd of horses in her bed the next day. But she was right, and she was picking a dangerous thing, and she was attempting to approach it intelligently. So she's got the brains. It's like they're kind of like a version of Paris Hilton. They're trying not to act dumb. You know they know all this stuff. Why we gotta bring it up here? Why is it talked about here and not acted out in our country? You know, so they're playing dead. And I think she's capable of calling the spade a shovel if she would. But that's another part of her game.
Well,
so,
That puts her right there with the mainstream candidates.
I am
and
impressed.
What's the use of voting for? It's like
Yeah.
watching Katie Couric.
She's become less shrill.
please get your ratings up.
She's become less shrill. She's become more forceful in the in the debates, she doesn't
Okay.
come across at all
Okay.
as like half-assed.
I see what you're saying.
But on the other hand, I don't agree with everything that she is, and
Right.
she's trying to be tough. I mean, in some ways, she's trying to be John Kerry. I'm going to kill better.
Right.
In other ways, she's like Meryl Streep, who portrayed her in the remake of The Manchurian Candidate.
I didn't see that,
Yeah,
but
Oh, it was definitely Hillary.
Well, wouldn't you step up if you really believed that the world was in trouble and the nation needed a friggin' turnaround? Wouldn't you get up on that mic and get on it and get up it, get people excited
Right.
and say, let's throw it in there, let them see some explosions, let's see some brain warps.
Yeah.
She could rock us, but she's not. They're all hesitating. They're not really
and no
doing.
one's
Hold
willing
it
to
back.
say the problem is corporate money and politics, and we've got to stop running the country for the benefit of the corporations and run
Yeah.
the country for the benefit of families and individuals.
Which brings us back to the point
It's
that
like
when
two
someone
different
has too much
conversations.
money, it looks like they're connected to these guys. It kind of makes you suspicious. You are guilty before proven innocent when you walk in
Absolutely.
with that sack of cash.
Right.
And now we got to weed out who you are going to actually, because you've done years of screwing us, and we just woke up recently to the fact. So now everybody stepping up to the plate better have some splaining to do.
Right.
Well,
A
see,
log
but-
cabin.
Well, I
Log
want
cabin
I
story.
want him to start telling on the other guys.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I want him to start pointing out. Well, this guy's taking money from this person, and they're influenced by this, and this person is never going to change things because the healthcare, because he's got all this money from the health insurance business, and
Right.
and
reported as
yeah,
such,
exactly.
like in the New York Times.
Yeah,
on
and I wanted to
CNN,
get in the face
and
of the
put
pharmaceutical
that in the body
companies.
of their articles.
Yeah.
Well, the truth of it, this is why it's not working, and here are the appendages that are blocking us from all of us having it. Let's identify them. Let's go. You're doing business with these people. They're doing business against you.
Yeah.
Right.
They're like they all pay the people
Yep.
to legislate and then abuse the law. They're not breaking anything, but they're just going to pass to go
'Cause they
on to
wrote
the
the
next
law.
thing.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We
We
gotta stop
need
it.
like a weekly branch in the newspaper where you can just show like the tentacles of how everybody's getting their money and everybody's doing their business, and you just need to like show it again and again, like
Right.
these are the 10 media companies.
Yeah,
These are the 5 lumber companies.
And here are their
These
clients.
The only
yeah,
hope we have
exactly.
is that there's humans in all these companies. They are not all droided out yet. There's a few humans left who can start to shake and wake
Once they
the
see the
other
momentum
workers going,
shifting.
guys, I don't know what the rest of you, but I don't want to be attached to
Right.
war crimes when we're all rode up at the Hague.
Right.
I want to read about the other motherfuckers on the other
Exactly.
floors did that shit because I got out. I am so ready to turn states, it's not even funny.
Well,
Yeah.
I was listening to who's the guy on the Air America in the morning? Tom Harkin?
Hartman.
Hartman.
I don't know.
He's really on it, and he was talking about, originally a corporation had their license or whatever, their permission
Personhood.
to operate was based upon operating for the benefit of the public good.
Mhm.
And if they stopped operating for the benefit of the public good, they just took their license away.
There's like in
Oh,
the
you're
radio
screwing
industry.
over your employees, you're a union buster. We don't need you to be in business anymore. And now we act like there's some divine right of corporation to make profit no matter how roughshod they walk over their competitors, their employees,
Yeah.
Controlling the
public
market.
safety.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you get to one area that is kind of important as far as who is, in the executive suite at least, and that's the Supreme Court justices, because we saw those decisions come down last week, a couple weeks ago,
they're-
that are a direct result of George Bush being in the White House. And so the people that argue for those long-term implications from a Supreme Court level, I kind of agree with. But I think the candidates that we're talking about, putting in the White House, a Ron Paul or a Dennis Kucinich, aren't going to put in crazy-ass Supreme Court justices. So.
Right.
Dennis Kucinich should be the guy closest to what I think we
Right.
all mutually agree on most of the things he agrees about and has spoken about. We have let the TV tell us that he's too small, he's too
Exactly.
droopy dog, he's too this.
Essentially, right.
What a terrible thing we have allowed to have happen to us, that the TV, this bow-tie jerk-off on TV, is
Exactly.
lying, read the card no matter what the card says.
Hitler
This
would
whore.
not, I mean, not Hitler.
Well, on TV, we'll do this. So it's embarrassing that how much we've been played by the box. It's
Napoleon would
embarrassing.
not stand a
Yeah.
chance
Face
in
it.
this culture.
Oh, right.
Napoleon, yeah, he would be
I
out
don't know
of
if
a job.
Kennedy would stand a chance in this culture. You know.
Yeah.
We will suspend disbelief.
Yeah, it should be totally possible. Make it realistic.
Right.
Why do I hear something's not realistic told to me through a plastic thing?
Yeah, you know what? Why am I going to vote for someone who I don't think is the best leader in this primary because I'm told, oh, that your other guy doesn't, Kucinich doesn't stand a chance?
Exactly.
You know what? Well, then after the primary's over, then we'll talk about who's the last man standing. But right now, Kucinich has his chance. Hey, we've got to wind the show up.
Why not just let them all run, in November? Just let everybody still vote on all of them? I mean, what the fuck,
Well,
you know?
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, don't narrow them
whatever,
down.
you know?
Yeah.
What's this like reality show voting them off an island bullshit? All stick around. Yeah.
Let everybody run. I got a song.
Well,
It's a Schoolhouse Rock song. It's real quick. It's real quick.
All right.
Elephants are donkeys, and donkeys are elephants. And if you vote for either one, you're a jackass.
The real Steve Smith. Laurie.
I think it would be really cool if the primaries became where the people voted and were like, your issues suck, not good enough, gotta have another one, until we made them speak the language of the people.
Yeah.
You know, and if they didn't do our will, then they weren't making it, and somebody else was gonna do their job. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Sweet. Laurie Buckley. Rick.
Yeah. Both the elephant and the mule are slave animals to different owners. The mule is the poor people's slave to the slaves, and the elephant is what rich people use to pack stuff around. But everything's really about master and slave. And once we wake up to that part, it'll really narrow the field down to who we want.
Nice.
Rick Overton.
That's,
And all I'm going to say is we need a none of the above. I like what you said. Where, look, go back. We're going to, appoint some caretaker. Jimmy Carter's going to take over until we get someone who can get a majority of the people to vote for us.
Just golly.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Jimmy, we need you.
Come on.
We can build some houses here.
Yeah, but tune in next week. Tune in every week for the Free Speech Show from the living room. I'm Bill Bronner, and thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Hayes. And stay tuned for ComedyNation.com. Things are happening. All right, we'll see you soon.
Bill Bronner.
Hey.
Thank you.